What's going on out to the Mechee Midwest watchers out there? Thank y'all for tuning in. Want to tap into the NFL. We had some trades and free agency that's taken off since this off season. Um, I wanted to get into like the main trades that went down recently, uh, the signings that's been currently going on, and man, I'm ready for the season. Like y'all know me, I'm more of an NFL fan than any other sport in the business. As far as NBA, NFL is just I can watch every single team play. I can watch every single game. If I could, I would. But let's get into these signings right now, and I'll tell y'all what I think about the signing. And like I said, um, season be here real soon. This is July. I know they have the Hall of Fame game later on this month. Then next month is the preseason, and then September, man, season kicking off with the Dallas Cowboys versus the defending champs, Philadelphia Eagles. But as far as these signings, I'm gonna start from the top, man. The mega trades that we had so far, we got DJ Metcalf. He went to the Steelers. Jalen Ramsey was picked up from the Steelers. Um, who was that? Minka Fitzpatrick was traded. Minka Fitzpatrick and Jonnu Smith was traded to the Miami Dolphins. No, am I getting this wrong? Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith was traded to the Steelers. Minka Fitzpatrick was traded to the Dolphins. That's what it was. We got George Pickens got picked up by the Cowboys. As far as those trades right there, Metcalf to the Steelers is a big play for that offense. They didn't have a receiver outside of George Pickens. I thought George Pickens and they was gonna pair George Pickens with Metcalf, and they end up trading Pickens away. I guess he thought that Metcalf was going to overshine him, which he would because he's the better receiver. But hey, I don't know what the logic was behind that, but the trade was made. I think it's a solid pickup, but they still going to need another receiver for the Steelers. Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers, another trade that didn't make sense to me because it's like you go trade for a top cornerback and you have a top safety there, but then you swap them. So it's like it don't make sense to me. But I mean, obviously the GM know what they're doing. Who am I? I'm just a spectator. George picking to the Cowboys. This trade actually helps the Cowboys because now the you don't have to just focus on the CD Lamb the entire game. Now you got to worry about George Pickens. That gives CD Lamb a chance to get open a little bit more, getting more receiving. And then if you do double Metcalf, I mean CD Lamb, then you got to worry about Pickens getting wide open. This might be the most open that George Pickens gets open with this team. So solid pickups. As far as quarterbacks, what quarterbacks we got? We got Aaron Rodgers signing a 1 year deal, which should be his last year in the league, signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now George, no, Metcalf got Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, throwing to him, even though he's at that age where, like I said, 40 plus, he probably still got a little bit more in the tank. If that offensive line can hold up and get the ball to Metcalf, he's going to have an okay season. I don't see him doing like putting up MVP numbers or anything like that. But it's a good look. This probably be the best quarterback the Steelers had since Ben Roethlisberger. So that'd be cool to see. Um, Wilson to the Giants. That's Russell Wilson. He got picked up by the Giants. They really don't have a quarterback over there. I want to say Russell Wilson and James Winston's over there. So they have a little battle for the quarterback right there. Sam Darnold, he's coming over from the Vikings after having a solid year. He's going over to the Seattle Seahawks to replace Geno Smith, which should be okay. As far as those quarterbacks, I don't see Rodgers really moving the needles. He'll just get a lot of yards and help Metcalf get back over 1,000 yards and have a solid season. Wilson to the Giants possibly can be the starter. It depends if he beats out Jameis Winston, which he should because we know that Winston has a high ratio on interceptions. Um, Donald, they really don't got nobody because the Seahawks, they don't have. They got the young guy, the Jackson Smith guy, but they don't got Metcalf and they don't have Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett got traded to the Tennessee Titans. So I don't really see that moving the needle. He'll just probably get some yards, like 25, 2,500, maybe 3,000 passing yards, but I don't see this moving the needle for them. Running backs that got picked up. Chubbs was picked up by the Texans. He will be the backup for Joe Mixon, which is a solid pickup. If the Texans improved on their offensive line, it always comes down to that. If they can improve for him, that might give Chubbs that energy to get back to his old self. He might not be the same again because he's coming off an ACL tear. He didn't look too good last year, but Cleveland offensive line wasn't good. So if Texans offensive line is a little bit better, maybe he could have a solid season backing up Joe Mixon. Um, Najee Harris to the Chargers is a solid pickup, change of scenery for him. The Steelers were plus 500 these last years with him, but he kind of took a step back, and Warren, the backup, was actually out playing Najee Harris. So I look forward to seeing what Harris can do over there. J.K. Dobbins to the Broncos. The Broncos looked solid on every part of the game last year. The only thing they lacked was a running game. J.K. Dobbins, if he got some left in tank, I know he's coming off an injury as well. If he could give them a spark, and they drafted a running back, if they could split carries, maybe he'll be okay. So as far as the running back pickups, solid pickups. Let's get into the tight end signing. The only one I seen on here was the Broncos. That was another piece they needed, was a tight end, an extra body to throw to, and they picked up Evan Ingram from the formerly from the Jacksonville Jaguars, another solid pick. Broncos gonna be all right this year. They had a solid, I want to say, a top 10 defense last year. They made it to the playoffs, led by Bo Nix. They got some young receivers out there with Cortland Sutton, but like I said, Evan is there and there pretty much a wide receiver. He was like the main target for Jacksonville for the last couple of years. He was starting to emerge there. So solid pickup for them. The wide receivers, as I said, Tyler Lockett, that'll be a slot receiver most likely for my team, the Tennessee Titans. That helps Ridley get open a little bit more, and our young receivers that we got out there. So that should help us a little bit. Cooper Cup to the Seahawks. I forgot about that. He should have a solid year with Sam Darnold throwing to him. Like I said, I don't see them being like a playoff team or anything. Maybe they could sneak into the wild card position because their defense is okay, but they got to work on that running game and get those receivers some yards out there. DeAndre Hopkins to the Ravens. That's another receiver Baltimore needed. At least a name. I know D Hop's is on the decline, but he still got some of the tank. If he's the second receiver on that team behind Zay Flowers, you got Mark Andrews out there. Um, he should have an okay game. Bateman, I'm pretty sure Bateman's still there with the Ravens, so the Ravens should be okay, led by Lamar Jackson. Stephon Diggs is coming off a bad injury. He was not able to re-sign with the Buffalo, not the Buffalo Bills, but the where he come from, Houston Texans. He wasn't able. They didn't want to gamble on him with his age, a little bit older. Um, the Patriots picked him up. Patriots needed another receiver. They got a vet receiver out there that can get you 1,000+ yards. Should have a solid season if he's focused and not too focused on Cardi B. If y'all ain't been following the news, he been partying with Cardi B. I think they went official, and now they kind of just broke up because they got back in the news. She scrubbed her social media. I guess they ain't messing around no more, whatever. But those type of distractions when you got somebody famous in your corner, it kind of become a big distraction. See Russell Wilson with Sierra. When you get to the Hollywood side, the music side, it kind of becomes a big distraction. So we'll see how that goes. And then the last pick was Devontae Adams being picked up by the Rams. You pair Devontae Adams with Puka Nakua, um, with Matt Stafford leading as the quarterback. You got Kyron Williams in the backfield, and you got a solid young defense. The Rams should be all right. They came very close to beating the Eagles in the playoffs, which the Eagles ended up winning the Super Bowl. But they played them pretty well with Cup and Puka Nakua. So you think about replacing him with Devontae Adams, it should have a solid year. Matt Stafford is a vet, definitely a Hall of Famer, man. We'll see how that turns out. But as of now, those are the only main trades I've seen so far, free agency so far. I will keep y'all in tune as as the off season goes on. Usually, once it get closer to the preseason, the season starts, we'll start getting a couple more vets signed or people that's coming off injury that teams are willing to gamble on. Because preseason, God forbid, some people gonna get hurt. Injuries happen during training camp, so it's gonna be the next man up. But they usually go after a vet that they can pay like the vet minimum or pay them a couple millions to come to the team. So y'all tap in. Let me know what your team is. What did your team do in the off season? Leave that in the comments. If you're a Titans fan, tighten up. I know it ain't many of us out there, but I'm looking forward to this season being led by Ken Ward, not having Will Levis snapping this coming out snapping the ball this year. So thank God on that. But that's all I got for the NFL news, man. Like, share, subscribe to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast for your latest NFL trades, free agency, and the season will be kicking off at the end of the month with the Hall of Fame game. So y'all make sure y'all tap in, like, share, subscribe to the channel on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.